Yesterday's decision or announcement about the First Nations education funding, was that another one of those kinds of policy ideas that you think you might get sort of hit on because it was, again, the idea of politics on the fly?
No,
or
there's no politics on the fly about it. The Liberal Party is absolutely committed to transparency and accountability. I mean, during my leadership, I disclosed my personal finances to a degree that no other leader has ever had. We, as the third party in the House of Commons, started a proactive disclosure that then the other two parties have taken on, and now the way the Parliament is disclosing MPs' expenses is because of the Liberal Party. We believe in transparency, but we also believe in fairness. And one of the things that absolutely clear is, in regards to First Nations communities, we can no longer impose from Ottawa solutions on them without proper consultation, without building partnerships. A perfect example is, you can't imagine forcing someone to disclose something when you don't give them the way to disclose. There's no website for them to put it up on. There's no capacity to actually go through the accounting and post those things. In many cases, there's not even a computer connected to the web in too many bands to be able to actually connect it. So there is a problem around not actually engaging, and I'm exaggerating a little bit, but there's a problem around not actually building the partnership. The Liberal Party wants transparency. Aboriginal communities want transparency. It was a big part of the Kelowna Accords that were signed by the Liberal Party 8 years ago that were then cancelled. So when you have a government right now that is the most secretive, the most unaccountable, that chooses to go on transparency as a weapon against First Nations and against unions, which is the other way they've approached it, I'm sorry, that's not good enough for me. And that, as you saw, was a complex thought. That I had to explain it. It's easy to say Justin would tear up this bill and we would never know about the excesses in First Nations communities. That, of course, is totally untrue. And that's the kind of politics that I'm relying on trusting Canadians to make work.
The question that I was dealing with, though, was on the First Nations education funding, the announcement that you made in Saskatoon. The Fraser Institute says, no, they're not underfunded. But there are others that are saying they are. This is a complex issue. There's lots and lots of different nuances on it. Tell me more about your thoughts on that.
You'll excuse me if I don't necessarily believe the Fraser Institute on what they're talking about in regards to that. They do some good work sometimes, but the slant is very, very clear. It is obvious that First Nations education is underfunded in this country. There's no question about it. You can look at a range. You know, some people say it's only 10 or 20% underfunded. Some say it's far more than that. The fact is, and I'd be very interested in seeing any politician of another party try to say that, no, we shouldn't be funding to the same level young people in First Nations communities as we do to non-Aboriginals. Nobody will say that. All I said was that we should, because, and it's more than just a moral thing of, oh, we've mistreated First Nations for so long, we have to do right by them. It's understanding that because the highest concentration of young people in our country are in First Nations communities, under 25, we need to get this right, not just for First Nations communities, we need to get this right for Canada.